The last few weeks have seen Gamescom, a Nintendo partner showcase coupled with an Indie World showcase, and now this weekend is PAX West. There have been a lot of announcements, a ton of new games to consider, a plethora of updates and DLC incoming imminently. So many that I asked myself, hey Jeff, yes, are there in fact too many games? Well, before we get into that, an even more important question struck me while watching Nintendo's partner showcase. Has Nintendo gotten too comfortable?
Household objects, appliances, and even concepts turn into eligible love interests.
Where does the confidence come from to be this openly horny?
A game in which you can, in fact, date pretty much everything.
About vacuums and lamps?
No way! Lux the lamp is all mine!
Would you like to flirt with your bath towel?
I dry as quick as my wit.
How about letting a kitchen cabinet speak to you in this manner?
Fall madly in love with Fabrizio the cabinet.
After we have supped and tasted and traveled to the heights of culinary stimulation, I will introduce you to... That's enough. How about having an illicit fuck with a pile of dirty laundry? That game is not for me. I'm not gonna play it. 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 Well, not at full price. What else besides coffee? Oh, you are trouble. What were we? Too many games, right? Are there too many games? This might seem like a weird question, and I guess it is. Yeah, it is. But I keep seeing this concept pop up in articles, podcasts, wherever. The idea that oversaturation in the games market is only a temporary problem. The idea that this new wave of games spawned from the 2020 funding bubble is going to dissipate. I don't think it will, even if investment has already clearly dwindled. Long term, the saturation is here to stay, but is that a bad thing? Are there too many games? Yes, clearly. But also no, obviously. Yes, because there are way too many games for me or you or any one person to play through, or even be aware of everything that might possibly interest them. Yes, because there are way too many games for every game or development studio to find their audience, their niche, their success. But no, because those are absolutely wild expectations to have. There's too many games for me to play is not a real problem, and a game or many games failing is not necessarily indicative of an industry issue. Of course the games market is, and should be, oversaturated. It means players have an abundance of choice, and artists are apparently able to create even if that creation doesn't lead to commercial success. Overabundance is a better problem to have than a shortage of games, and since you can't solve for the desire to create art, and why would you want to, creators are going to be competing with each other for player investment. Video games are entertainment products, and the making of games is a hits-based business. They are works of art, yes, but it's normal. Unfortunate, yes, but normal that some of them fail or get overlooked. When it comes to artistic creation, the field is always going to be full. There will never be enough golden tickets to go around, so you can't bet on or predict success. And therefore, it will end up being for the love of the game. Pun unintended, yet unavoidable. Earlier this month, Games Radar ran a piece on the indie tactics game Arco, which had been critically lauded and rated highly by players on Steam. However, to quote the article, in an illustration of the volatile indie games market, its creators say the game has sold badly. So badly that developer Frantic laments that making under minimum wage is embarrassing, even if it means you get to make games. Look, I'm not trying to make light of an indie game missing its sales target, or to celebrate a small game studio struggling. In fact, I think it's a rough situation to be in. I can totally empathize with how the devs must be feeling, and I'm not in a position to comment on the quality of the game, but I couldn't help but read that quote and think of an indie musician lamenting low concert turnout or album sales, and then Rolling Stone publishing a piece on it. The struggling artist is a stereotype for a reason, and we've reached a point in saturation of the video games market where it should be apparent to everybody involved that creation is high effort and high risk. And look, I don't mean to single out Arco. That's just the game this article is about. It comes on the heels of a lot of similar articles. And hey, maybe this Games Radar piece pushes Arco deeper into the spotlight and they sell more copies. I think that would be awesome for the developers and is also very blatantly the goal of the article. But it doesn't change the fact that then some other game is not getting the player engagement or sales, And would that be another indie game or one of the AAA live service titles that pigs out on our playtime? I don't know. It is what it is. Player time and money is finite, and some games are going to fall short, going to be left out. Quick note, I wish the article wasn't about an indie game already buried on my wish list since the summer's PC gaming show. I find it much easier to talk about bigger games in this manner, like Immortals of Avium or Concord or Redfall. And I guess that's just because I can think about the corporation and not the people who made the games, which doesn't seem fair when said out loud, but I felt kind of weird talking about the struggles of an indie like Arco. So I went and played the demo on Steam, and it's good. So I bought it. And so I guess the article worked on me, damn. Anyway, hopefully I can get to it in between Tactical Breach Wizards, the Black Ops 6 beta, not to mention Space Marine 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom coming up, and the Starfield expansion. Oh no. What have I done? The article goes on to bring up a reply tweet from Local Thunk, creator of another game on my backlog, Balatro. Local Thunk said, "This industry can seem like such a lottery sometimes." Yes. Yes, it is. And that's never going to change. How could it? No artistic medium has ever found a way to ensure success for every artist. The sad truth is making a good game isn't enough. The cocktail of success has a lengthy ingredient list, and luck is a major flavor. Back in January of this year, Nacon's head of publishing, Benoit Clerc, told Brendan Sinclair at GamesIndustry.biz that there are too many games currently on the market. Clerc attributed this to increased funding stemming from the lockdown era when everybody was stuck at home, leading to the games industry experiencing an explosive increase in player activity, spending habits, and thus Clerc concluded there are simply too many for customers to be able to play them. Which is not the audience's problem, the customer, it's the artists. And that has always been the artist's problem across all mediums of entertainment. There are too many video games, the same way that there are too many books, too many movies, too much music, even, dare I say, too many YouTube channels. It's not a problem that needs to be solved, it's just the reality of how it is. And even as the funding surge from the start of this decade dries up, we are still going to see a high volume of games across AAA, AA, indie, mobile. The market will be forever crowded from now on. This is the status quo that all mediums of popular art and entertainment eventually mature to. And that's actually a good thing. It's good to have too many video games. The world always needs more art, but an artist going pro or finding financial success is never going to be the common endpoint or occur along a predictable path. How many people do you know who can play an instrument? And then how many rock stars? Or even just people who can pay the bills with it? Game development is like making music or writing a novel or being me, in that it seems obviously and inherently sexy from the outside. And look, this is in no way meant to excuse the massive rash of games industry layoffs we have seen over the last few years. That is the result of poor management, and game developers that work for these corporations likely need to push for an overhaul to a system that will dump them at the first sign of profit tapering. Perhaps a union system or hiring on a clearly communicated per project basis like we see in the film and television industry would better protect game developers from the profit-driven whims of corporate publishers, but that's never going to solve for all failures. Some games, some studios will just simply not succeed, and the probability of failure is not going to diminish, it's going to grow. As new technologies emerge and old ones evolve, game development is going to become more accessible to more people, and the desire to create isn't going anywhere. When you look at Roblox or the Unreal Editor for Fortnite or all the game-centric college courses that have sprung up over the last decade, you ought to see a veritable army of future developers who will be vying for positions in the industry and creating a wealth of indie games from all over the world. And compounding that is the growing and seemingly inescapable draw of live service games that suck in vast amounts of engagement. And yet players are still only going to have 24 hours in a day. There will always be too many games. I should go. I don't know where you've been.
Did you know that you could even date the game itself? Why don't I introduce you to Textbox Tron?